For this week's adventure, we loaded up the Land Rover for a long hike. Ahead of us was a 155-mile drive to see some waterfalls that we'd never seen before. We were more than an hour into the trip when we decided to start filming at the bridge in Philippi, West Virginia.
Turn right to stay on North Main Street.
While most people are familiar with Blackwater Falls, we were interested in some of the lesser-known falls, like Douglas and Albert Falls. These falls are found on the Black River Canyon, just outside of Thomas, West Virginia. As you pass through the small village of Thomas, you'll see some of the places that I've shown on some previous trips, including the Purple Fiddle, which is currently closed for renovations. As you leave Thomas, you take the first road on the right, which is known as Douglas Road. You'll follow Douglas Road for about a mile, maybe a mile and a half. As the road makes a turn to the right, you'll notice a parking area on the right. It's not a bad place to park, but you'll be walking an additional 3/4 to 1 mile in before you even reach the trailhead. My advice would be to take the left toward Douglas Falls. So as you can see, we are deep in the forest. In fact, we've hiked so far back that I'm not sure if we can get back out. A little bit lost. I don't know what we're gonna do. All right, I'm totally lying. So the trail back to Douglas Falls, you can drive almost all the way back to the trailhead. And when you cross the final bridge, there's one little place to park, and I've taken it here with the Land Rover. Let me just come out here and show you. Behind me, you can see just a small parking lot back here. There's room for a dozen cars. Now, the road back to here is pretty rough. It's potholes, it's a little bit of mud, nothing a car won't make. In fact, there's somebody back here in a van, which is kind of interesting. Behind me, you can see the gate that blocks off the trail from where you can drive back to. Douglas Falls is just beyond the gate here. So even if you're having trouble with walking and don't want to do any hiking, there's no hiking to do here. You can come straight down to the falls. We're gonna hike down this little trail to the side. If you're gonna make the hike down to the falls, just know that it's no joke, and you can see that it's just a pretty steep drop, and just be careful. This is Douglas Falls, and I'll tell you what, it is pretty neat being down here right at the base of the falls. And I'll tell you what, I'm sure this camera's not doing this any justice. It's probably 30 feet tall.
kind of reminds me of Scenic Rock.
So for the most part, this trail follows the canyon, and although you can't see all of the waterfalls, you can hear them as you're walking. And the rock outcroppings to the left and to the right they're just really cool. We've got a big rock jutting out on the top of this ridge over here. We've got a massive one up above us, and overall the trail's nice and flat. It's an easy hike, hard pack, and I tell you what, the temperature out here is perfect today, so having a good time.
Hike's going great. No hard courses. Flat, easy trot.
Pretty cool fall right off the side of the trail. We are, let's see, 3.86 miles from the trailhead. So if you want to see this one, you got a little bit of a walk. This is the waterfall at 5.04 mile marker. And you can see I'm getting some like puffiness under my eyes. There's like some pollen in the air. Our eyes are getting all itchy and scratchy. I'm not sure what that's all about, but we're gonna turn around here because it's 5 miles back to the truck. 10-mile day, not a bad day. So not a bad day at all. So the hike is done. We got in our full 10 miles. You can see that I've got the Land Rover here, and we are parked in front of the Wild Wilderness Pub and Parlor. So we're gonna go try some dinner. I tell you what, the pollen's bad. My eyes are about glued shut, so I had to take the contacts out, throw the glasses on here. But we're in the small town of Davis. You can see across the street here, Davis Town Hall. And then let me just show you up the avenue here. It reminds me a lot of Thomas. These towns almost mirror each other. It's really neat how all of these little local businesses kind of get together and still keep their main street alive. They haven't been killed by the big box stores. So we're gonna try some food here, and I tell you what, I'm hungry. 10 miles is a lot. And my feet are killing me, so. All right, plot twist. So we stopped at the Wicked Wilderness Pub and Parlor, had a beer, and did you ever get someplace and you look at the menu and you're just like, this isn't really what I want? So we had an appetizer. Now granted, the appetizer was good, but the problem with a small town like this is that if you don't know the restaurant and you've never been here, you've got to find your niche. So we're actually walking next door to a place called Sirianni's, and we're gonna try some pizza because suddenly pizza sounded good. All right, so Sirianni's, not bad. Wasn't great pizza, wasn't bad pizza, but fit the bill. And Davis, cool little town. So we just checked into the Blackwater Lodge here at Blackwater Falls, and got a shot of the lodge here behind me. And this is my favorite pick, is seeing my old truck in the lineup next to all of these brand new cars. And a lesser man would be like, it looks like crap. Me, I think it's hilarious. Nonetheless, it's here. We're gonna check in for the night, and I tell you what, my legs are tired and I am ready for a shower. So it seems that in Blackwater Falls, even the coffee overflows. We are at the overlook right behind the Blackwater Lodge, and the lodge was pretty cool. It was nice, it was clean. They have a restaurant inside called the Smokehouse, and by local standards it was pretty decent. We didn't eat there, we had an appetizer and a couple of beers. The lodge itself, I'll get a shot of it here in a second, but really affordable. So when I think of lodge, I think extremely expensive. You know, can't afford to stay there, but really one night, queen size bed, 2 people, $127. Not bad at all. We just threw some bags in the back of the truck yesterday and didn't know if we were going to stay down here or if we're going to make the return trip home. But after looking around and doing 10 miles and having really sore feet, we thought it best, let's just stay for the night. But I digress. We're here in one of the most beautiful scenes that you've ever seen. Now, directly behind the camera is Blackwater Falls, and from this side of the canyon you can't see it. The actual overlook is on the opposite mountain, and there's a trail that goes down to the waterfall, and I've already filmed that. I'm not going to get back into that, but you can get rooms that overlook this side of the canyon. They were another like $50, but really there's not a lot to see, so it didn't make sense for us to do that. But the lodge itself, it's nice. It was a great time. So everything here is set up to come out and just enjoy the day. You've got some benches out here, you've got stone walls, stone walkways. I don't know if I saw a fire pit or not. I was kind of looking around for a fire pit. That would be a cool addition down here, but I don't know how much the insurance companies would love that. But this is the back of the lodge. What you're looking at right here is the restaurant. That is the Smokehouse. They are serving breakfast. It's a buffet breakfast. We didn't go through yet. I believe we may go check it out. But I tell you what, here's the overlook. So overall, just a beautiful area. What did you think of your last night's sleep?
It was relaxing.
It's just nice to get away, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You're starting on Sunday this week, huh? Sorry you had to share your day with me. I was looking out last night.
Leaving the lodge and just talked to a group of guys in here who came down for a Jeep event. So there's a brand new Badge of Honor trail over in Maryland, which isn't far from here. And let me just show you here. You got some Jeeps parked next to the Rover. We got some more Jeeps down the line here. And then we've got the smartest guy in the bunch over here because he was able to put his Jeep on a trailer. And if anybody's been with me, you know the problem. You got to drive it home, stupid. So there it is. We are off to our next spot. I can't even dispute that. We're here at the smallest church in 48 states. I believe the dimensions are 12 by 24 and it seats around 12 to 20 people from what the brochure said. Nonetheless, we're here on Sunday morning. It is 10 a.m. and we were hoping to actually attend a mass, but it doesn't appear the mass is still going on at this church. Now this is really neat because in true West Virginia fashion, the Stations of the Cross are on pieces of wood, slivers that were cut from a tree trunk. All of them all the way around the church are done the same way, and someone has taken the time to do some fantastic artwork on here. Overall, it's a really neat way to do it. Let me get a close-up of just this one. Now, most people have probably never heard of this church. You've never seen it in brochures. You've probably never done anything with it. But being a West Virginia native and having lived here pretty much my whole life and having toured the whole state, this was one of those places that you always drove by and checked out just because it was here. We've officially signed the book. We've been here. We are inside the visitor center here at the smallest church in 48 states. And behind me on the wall, I found something really interesting. So this is a certificate of citizenship for a gentleman named Milkent. Now, when I was in the church, I noticed the name Milkent. It said Milkent family in the stained glass. And it had no meaning until I came in here. But to see that that name belonged to an immigrant is really, it's really interesting. So I've never seen a certificate of citizenship, and to have this kind of historical memorabilia to go with that church, I think it's really neat. So I kind of wanted to point that out, and if you guys get a chance to stop down here, the history in this place, I could probably spend the whole day in here just looking at every article and reading everything. We've also got, let me just show you this here. Hopefully this will come out. These are the guest logs from back in the 50s. I gotta point this out too. So in this case is an old slide projector and a bunch of old slides. And if you can read that first slide, it says Blackwater Falls State Park. So we've got slides from way back in the day, and I'll bet there's just gotta be some history on those slides. So it's just some cool stuff to see. I'm sure the film's not great, I'm sure that it's grainy, but just to see it from back then would probably be really neat. So this is the Fairfax Stone at Fairfax Stone State Park here in West Virginia. It's about 2 miles down a side road off of 219. That's the original stone, and then down below it there's a plaque. I'll get a picture of the plaque here in a second. But it's not anything to see, it's just kind of cool. From what the sign said coming into the trailhead, it basically told us that that Lord Fairfax, this was the eastern corner of his property, and this was the marker that he used to show where his property ended. So pretty neat, and you can do all the history on Lord Fairfax. He's related somehow to Thomas Jefferson, or had a daughter that married Thomas Jefferson's kid, or it doesn't matter. You can do the history on it. I'm just showing you the stone. So if you're reading this, it's talking about this being the start of the Potomac River. This, below me, is the start of the Potomac River as it works its way through to Washington, D.C. and beyond. That's neat. That's really interesting to think that a mighty river like that starts with just such a little, basically it's going to be a trickle coming off this mountain right here at the Fairfax Stone. We're filling up here down in Thomas, West Virginia, and luckily this station has 93 octane. I've got the Land Rover, the timing is set for 93, and unfortunately on the way down yesterday, we ran into a station that only had 87. Well, you know, I've said in my past videos, you don't pass up the chance to get gas, so we filled it up with 87, which caused me a little bit of grief. We ended up doing a timing adjustment on the side of the road. Burnt my hand a couple times trying to get in there to get it, but I'm going to throw the 93 in. I'm going to see how it runs for part of the way home, and then I may have to go ahead and do another timing adjustment. You know, modern cars are all computer controlled, and the timing is controlled by the computer. It advances the curve or retards the curve, whatever needs to happen. With an old vehicle like this, it's completely manual. The service manual on this thing says that for 90 octane that I should have the I should have the timing set at 6 degrees before top dead center. It says that for 87 octane, I should be at 3 degrees before top dead center, and then I believe even at 85, and I haven't seen 85 fuel forever. But there's other challenges to that, because modern fuel contains a lot of ethanol, and ethanol burns a lot quicker than standard fuel, which means it ignites sooner. It also causes problems with the boiling off and some other issues when it comes to, you know, just trying to control the timing. I'm gonna check my oil. The old girl does burn oil, but she's 50, and when you hit 50, well, I guess you earn it. So we're just gonna do a peek see here, and we're about a half quart low, which isn't a big deal, except in this car. And I was hearing the valves kind of clattering, which means that I need to add oil to it. So even half a quart causing me some problems. I'm gonna put some oil in this thing, get back on the road. All right, so we're at the scenic overlook, and we're just getting ready to head back home. Sun's in my eyes, so I'm kind of squinting here, but beautiful, beautiful view behind me. We got the windmills that I checked out last time down here, and we're actually not here to see the sights. We've got to adjust the timing on this truck again, because it's running terrible in the 93, because I'm set up for 87 now. So we're gonna advance the timing a little bit, see if we can't get enough power out of this thing. It's really a dog on the hills right now. Again, that's the problem with owning and trying to drive an older car like this. I only run 93. Like I said yesterday, I had to change it up a bit. So let's get it back to 93 shape, rock and roll. So luckily I carry tools and a timing light under the seat, just for this reason. There's so many things that can go wrong on the road, especially when you're driving something this old. So what I'm doing now is, if I get a view of this or not, loosen up my distributor a little bit, and then we're going to hook up a timing light, and we're going to try to put this back to 6 degrees before top dead center, which is where it likes to run on 93. So it's really as simple as this. This goes to my #1 spark plug. I got a positive and a negative. I probably won't be able to show you the timing marks. Let me see if I can see them. Here's my timing marks. I don't know if this camera's going to pick them up at all. You can see 6 degrees right there. I'm actually beyond it, due to the new fuels. And really, they say with these old trucks just to tune them by ear, but I like to be in the ballpark just to make sure that, you know, I don't burn a piston or do something silly. I'm going to tighten it down right here. I'm going to take it for a drive and see what we think. Probably actually turn my idle down a little bit, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna leave it at that, see how she does. With my timing issues solved, it was time to start the 3.5-hour drive back home. It was yet again another successful trip into the mountains of West Virginia. Please take a moment to comment, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Do not go in there.